All right, Eddie, I'm going to let you go first on this one. What shot do you give the Suns of winning this year's championship?
I'm going to give them a 0% chance. And this is the reason why. I think that they made a great trade, a great big splash by getting Kevin Durant adding to their team. But when I look at the West, it's stacked, right? And then on top of that, for them to get to the conference finals, right now where they're sitting at in the fourth position, they would have to play Golden State. Do I think they could beat Golden State in a 7-game series when Golden State is healthy? I don't think so. I think when Golden State is healthy, they're to me the favorite. You got to dethrone the champions to become the champions. But so it all depends on seeding for them. And when it comes to that, then if they get past and get to the Western Conference Championship, the Western Conference Finals, and make it to the finals, I don't think they have a deep enough roster. And this is no disrespect. I just don't think they're deeper than Milwaukee. I don't think they're deeper than Boston. And I think those are one of the two teams who will be representing the East when it comes to finals time.
I agree with you what you said, Eddie. I don't believe they're the prohibitive favorites. This is not the Steph and KD, Klay Thompson, Draymond, Golden State Warriors skip from 17 through 19. That's not them. This is not the early 2000s Shaq and Kobe Lakers when you know they were coming out. This is not them. And I agree with Eddie. Look, you look at their top 3 players, because I don't believe Chris Paul is a top player. He's really a role player now. That's what he's turned himself into. Now, I got to count on DeAndre Ayton to play with the energy that he played with last night against Charlotte. That's what I'm hoping, that he plays with that energy that he played against Charlotte. I know what I'm going to get from KD. I know what I'm going to get from Book. But when I look at Cameron Payne and Torrey Craig and Josh Okogie and these guys that's going to play, Jake Londale and those guys, really? Is that what I'm counting on? Because like Eddie said, in the Eastern Conference, they're deeper. I believe the Golden State Warriors, they're deeper if Steph comes back healthy. I believe the Denver Nuggets, they're deeper. I just believe teams, their top 3 players might be good. The top 2 players, I believe they have the 2 best top 2 players on the Sun. The question is, Skip, when you play, and granted, you're going to shorten your bench. You're going to probably go, Eddie, about 8 deep come playoff time, especially as you go to the second round, the divisional round, and then you get to the Western Conference Finals. I just don't believe, I agree with you. I don't know if they're healthy enough. And the question is, what about the Pelicans? If the Pelicans can get Zion back, can they make a move? But I just don't see them as the prohibitive favorites. And I agree. I've said this before. I believe the representative out of the Eastern Conference will be the champion this year. Either it's going to be the Celtics or the Bucks. But I believe they've been the 2 best teams all year long, and I believe they'll finish it off. One of those 2 teams will win the championship.
Okay, my turn. Eddie House. First of all, let me welcome you back on this show, because it's been a while since we've seen you on this show, and we appreciate you being back.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate
you live in the Phoenix area. I think you're in Scottsdale, but you attend a good number of Suns games. You were the first one who alerted me to the fact that young Devin Booker has got that dog in him, because you were sitting in the front row and you could hear it and see it, right, on Devin Booker?
Yep.
Okay. There's only one Kevin Durant. I have been his biggest fan. Shannon comes and goes on him. He went in the first round of the playoffs last year for Brooklyn. I thought it was a Kyrie problem, but he did not distinguish himself. He has played at an MVP caliber this year for Brooklyn, and we saw on opening night that he is the easiest to play with superstar who has ever walked this planet. And for many of these years, he has been the best player on this planet. I love him and Book together because they both want to play basketball. That's all they want to do is hoop. Again, Kevin paid the highest compliment to Book as he stood on the court and did the local Phoenix interview last night. He said he's a pure basketball player. And that's in Kevin's world, in his point of view, you can't get better than being a pure hooper. So I love the fit of that. And I like this team, and I think it's deeper than you're giving it credit for. But my biggest X factor that the day the trade broke, we were in Phoenix for the Super Bowl, and I said my only fear here is Chris Paul. Is he a little over the hill? He had 11 assists last night, but he doesn't move the way he used to move, and he definitely doesn't shoot it the way he used to shoot it, because he went 1 for 8 last night, and fortunately, it was Charlotte, and it did not matter. It will matter at some point.
0 for 4 from 3.
Okay, so back to you, Eddie House. You played at a high level in this league for a long time, and you played this position. What are you seeing in Chris Paul at this point and stage and age?
I mean, I'm still amazed by him. The way he sets the table, he is by far the best pure point guard we have in the game. Anybody that plays, you think it's easy to play with Kevin Durant. It's way easier to play with Chris Paul because he's looking to get you off. He's looking to get shots for guys. And I think the best thing for them this year is that he doesn't have to carry the load. He could be the fourth option, maybe even the fifth option sometimes. His job is to set the table for Kevin Durant, set the table for Book, and set the table for DeAndre Ayton. Now, with those two players that I just said, probably one of the most dynamic scoring backcourts that is in the league right now with Booker and Kevin Durant. There's going to be a lot of space out there. And the way Chris Paul can manipulate the pick and roll, you're going to see a lot of lobs. You're going to see a lot of open shots. To me, it's the other side of the court. For me, are they going to be able to defend the way they are? Chris Paul, like you said, you alluded to, he's not moving the way he used to move.
No.
So he could get attacked a little bit more in the pick and roll. He could get picked up like last year we seen Alvarado pick him up 94 feet and wear him down. So now he has to fight through screens, and then he has to bring the ball up against pressure. So it's ways to kind of wear him down, but he's still the maestro. He's still going to make sure that everything is flowing the right way. Again, I just don't think that they have enough depth on that team to compete for a championship. I do think that more pressure to me, I'm going to spin it a little bit. I got asked a question yesterday, who has more pressure on him? Does Kevin Durant have any pressure on him? And I don't believe so. His legacy is set. It's set in stone. He is who he is. I think who has the most pressure is going to be James Jones and Monty Williams, because that was mortgage the future for right now. And if they don't win right now, we all know when new ownership comes, if they inherit somebody and it doesn't work, they want their guys in. And so it has to work for James Jones' sake, and it has to work for Monty Williams' sake. The players probably could save Monty Williams, but I think if this doesn't work, the way they mortgaged the future, gave up 2 young players, 4 draft picks, I think over a span of 6 years, if it doesn't work, it's going to be tough for that owner to keep James Jones.
Let me ask you this, and Skip and I was talking about this, and we talked about this when the trade came down at the Super Bowl, is that you got a 37-year-old Chris Paul with a long injury history. You got a 34-year-old Kevin Durant with an injury history. You got a young Devin Booker who hamstrings are like 72-year-old man, like a 72-year-old man. He has an injury history. Is that a concern of yours?
Of course. Of course it is. We see, I mean, the hamstring is something that it could come back. We never know, if it gets, because he's injured it a couple times now. So, and with Chris Paul, we know his injury history, especially like think about that playoff when they had an opportunity to beat Golden State, he ends up getting hurt, right? And so he has that history, but he won't have to have the workload or the usage that he did when he was playing then. So I think he should be fine. And Kevin Durant, that was one of the things he's been in since he's got injured at Golden State. It seems like every single year he's been injured and he's been missing time. So that is a concern of mine. They are pure hoopers. That's one thing about them. They're hoopers. They're going to find a way to ball and compete. But again, I just think that once you get past Book and get past KD, you make it hard on Ayton and attack him a little bit on the defensive end. I think when you start looking at that bottom half of that roster, I just don't think that they're as deep as everybody else is around them. Like Golden State is a deeper team. I think the Clippers are a deeper team. Memphis is a deeper team. Denver, they've been the best team in the West all year pretty much. So I even give you this, the Lakers. I feel like the Lakers became a deeper team when I felt like the Lakers won the trade. I felt like they won trade day. I know it wasn't a big splash, but they filled all the voids and all the holes that they needed. They got young talent and so to surround around LeBron. So I just don't think that they're deep enough. And especially if they make it out, I don't think that they could beat Milwaukee, and I don't think they could beat Boston.
I am bullish on the Phoenix Suns. I've told Shannon I give them a great shot to win the West. I have told Shannon repeatedly, and I'm going to remind you that once upon a time, and to your point, if Phoenix stays in the 4th seed, they would get Golden State in the first round if it stays as is. Today, it would be Golden State. Kevin Durant will beat Golden State because once upon a time, it was Steph and Draymond and Clay who went all the way across the country to recruit Kevin Durant to come save them against LeBron and Kyrie. And he did. He rose and shone above all those Golden State superstars, all that dynasty. They needed him to get them back over the hump against LeBron after they'd blown the 3-1 lead in the 2016 finals. In the 17 and 18, Kevin Durant was the MVP of the NBA Finals. I believe he's better than anybody on Golden State right now. And I remind you, Golden State has struggled all year. They've lost their culture, their identity, their chemistry. It started with the Draymond punch of Jordan Poole, and it's not gotten any better. There's something amiss with that team because they're a 500 basketball team. And again, will Steph come back and be 100% healthy? I don't know. He's becoming injury prone later in his career, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I believe they would beat Golden State. And then if the seeding held as it is right now, they would have to deal with Yoke and Denver in round 2.
Right.
And here we'd go.
Yeah.
Then we would find out.
I mean, Murray versus Book.
Yep.
Yoke versus basically KD. And Aaron Gordon has been playing great defense and playing very well offensively. Here's the thing, Eddie. He's out on his Clippers. He was talking about the Clippers. All he talked about was the Clippers. And once they signed Russ, he had to jump on another team. Don't let him fool you. Here's all of a sudden I'm bullish on the Suns.
I know he's following wherever KD go. But hey, Skip, remember this though. You said that you think that they can beat Kevin Durant. It can beat the Golden State Warriors.
Do.
When the Warriors recruited Kevin Durant to come, what happened? Why was Kevin Durant at home? Who beat him? Golden State.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are the same guys that already have beat him. So
Okay.
I will put my money, if I was the bet man, I would put my money with Golden State.
Okay, and who was Kevin's co-star in Oklahoma City? It was, unfortunately, he was stuck with Russ.
Man, stop it.
Shannon was stuck with Russ for a year and a half.
Come back to Russ somehow.
Stuck with Russ.
Blame Russ.
Clippers are stuck with Russ. The Clippers are doomed. I don't know what possessed them to go sign that guy. I have no idea.
They needed him.
You know, and I know I'm right about this because you were stuck with him.
We were, but you guys needed him. You wanted him. You recruited him.
Whose idea was that?
What's the trip about the Western Conference, though? If you look at it, 3 games separate the 5th seed and to the 14th seed.
Yep.
So it's going to change in these last few games. They're jockeying for position right now. The teams that are on the outside looking in, Portland with a shot, the Lakers got a shot. And so I mean, it all depends on seeding for Phoenix. You know, who are you going to get in that first round?
Good stuff, guys. Eddie, we want you to stick around because we've got to talk about the latest with Ja Morant.
Yep.
It's not just seeding in the West that we've got to discuss. Undisputed will be back in just a